And we're live. All right, what's up,
All right,
SquidGrow
cool.
family? So, to start off this call, I want to preface it by saying that it is going to be more of a long-winded, more of a professional recording. We're going to stick to the points at hand. At the end of it, we'll open up questions to all of you and spend some time diving into any concerns or queries you may have. So just hold those to the end, and try to stay to that point if you can, because there is quite a bit to cover. There's two major announcements that we're going to dive into, and they may come as a surprise, but that's okay, and we're going to explain why it's actually a good surprise. So just bear with us as we get through the meat of this, and I think without further ado, we can dive in, starting with the first on the menu, Sib. So I'll let you kind of intro that.
All right. So guys, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. So, our BSC contract's due for an upgrade, and there's a couple reasons why we have to upgrade our BSC contract, which we are going to go into very thorough detail. And the dynamic of this BC is kind of going to be, Dane and I talking back and forth, making sure that we cover all points. And then after we are done with that, obviously you can raise your hand, ask questions, so on and so forth. But just to kind of, jump right into it, our BSC contract is going to be upgraded. We're going to be migrating our BSC contract to a new contract. Um, and we're going to go over the details and the reasoning behind that. So Dan, let's go ahead and jump into it.
Yeah, so we've known this point would come for a long time, right? This has been something that's been pressing us slowly over time for a number of reasons that we're going to dive into now. And make sure you stick with us because I think this is extremely bullish. And once you hear these reasons, I think you will too. So speaking directly to the need for MBSC, it's time to get it done. This is the right moment. We all know where we are inside of the macro, and things are quiet in the space compared to what they can be. So when it comes to migrations, it's typically best to jump into them while things are quiet, not when things are going crazy. So no better time than this month after things settle down with the next crypto jam and the exchanges that we have, and we've got all that stuff done. That's time when we'll do it. In fact, we're going to be doing this on October 1st. So this is a 30-day warning of the BSC migration. And it's going to be a fairly seamless process as well as far as how we do it. We will dive into that after we talk about the reasons why we're doing it first. So, number one reason, Chib, the obvious one, talk to us a little bit about the liquidity pairing problem that we've had since inception.
All right. So within our BSC contract, or within any contract that does a swap and liquefy, there's three key parameters in that contract. There is the amount of tokens that need to be moved. In our case, it's 150 billion. That's hard coded into our contract. The next function is going to be the amount of times 150 billion tokens need to be moved to trigger the swap and liquefy. In our case, it's 7, which those are hard coded. They cannot be changed. The third parameter is the threshold, which is the amount of tokens that are sold for swap and liquefy. Currently, it's at 150 billion tokens. I can scale that up, scale that down to however I fit. The problem that we're running into, especially as we increase our market cap, and we saw this on the run up to 52 million, this is the reason why we had about 300,000 in liquidity stuck in our contract on that run up. Our contract was not swapping and liquefying because at higher market caps, obviously tokens are more valuable. So it's fewer and fewer people are moving 150 billion tokens around, and it has to be moved 7 times. So if there is 150 billion tokens in the contract ready for swap and liquefy, 150 billion tokens have to be moved 7 times. Whether it's transfer, sell, buy, stake, unstake, has to be done 7 times. And only after those thresholds are met, there's a swap and liquefy. And because our swap and liquefy threshold is hard coded and can't be scaled down like we can with our Ethereum contract, we find our contracts backing up. So what's this doing? It's depleting our LP to market cap ratio. So although we have a bunch of liquidity stuck in the contract, it's not making that liquidity pair. It's not being added to where it needs to be added to, and it's not keeping that ratio at the ideal points that we want to keep it at. So versus our Ethereum contract, we can fully manage every aspect of that. I can change the threshold, the amount of transfers, the swap and liquefy amount. It's night and day difference. Our contract that we are currently using on ETH is just far superior over our BSC contract. And in full transparency, we've been aware of this situation for probably 8-9 months. It was solidified in our audit with Surtech. I had inquired about it, so they dove deep into the contract and kind of told us the reasons, why there's not a parameter to change the contract functions. And so for the last 8-9 months, there's a workaround that I've been doing. I take 150 billion tokens and I essentially transfer them back and forth between two wallets, back and forth. Unfortunately, because the wallets are whitelisted, because I'm not going to lose any on transfer tax, I have to double that. So, if it was not whitelisted, I could just move 7 times. But because it is whitelisted, I have to move back and forth double that amount. And
Yeah, so
it's very time consuming. 14 transfers back and forth.
right, and it's okay. So here's the thing: when you're at a lower market cap, the threshold that's set there is not too much of an issue. But as you climb up, say to 20, 30, 40, 50 million market cap, it becomes much more rare to see 150 billion token transaction, for instance, which is what it's set to, as Shib said. And so then it kind of just builds up tokens and the contract doesn't pair. And this is where Shib is speaking to as far as his work he's had for the last several months. But it just doesn't make sense when the volume increases. We can't have Shibtoshi sitting there sending tokens back and forth to pair liquidity all day long. Not only will it be not feasible to do so, but it will also raise flags on people who are watching the blockchain, wondering what these tokens are being passed around. So it's just not sustainable. We've done it as long as we can, but we've noticed that when our market cap goes higher, the liquidity is not pairing efficiently like it does on ETH, and that's a problem because we do anticipate things to go much higher, of course. So that's the first reason. That's the one that's been plaguing us as far as in the back of our heads for a long time, to the point where we knew we would have to do it. The more new reason is, of course, the SAM integration. So we've got that on the ETH side, right, Shib?
Correct. So obviously everybody is, very proud about our SAM function. Obviously, as of yet, we have not utilized that for an acquisition. But developing these new contracts, there was very certain parameters that I wanted the contracts coded to. One of those were the ability to easily absorb liquidity within our contract. So as an example, when we absorbed Versa Finance, I think their liquidity was, I don't know, I'm going to just say $60,000 because I can't recall off the top of my head, but let's just say $60,000. So to accumulate those tokens to airdrop the Versa Finance, I did a $60,000 buy on the chart, right? And that pumps our chart all fine and dandy, but I'm not paying tax on that buy. And even if I was to pay tax, it'd only be 4% of that buy going to liquidity, right? So it pumps our chart, but it's thinning out our liquidity to market cap ratio to accumulate those tokens. Our SAM function allows us to directly inject the liquidity into the contract, directly into our pair. And what happens when a project adds liquidity, like the initial going live, they inject the liquidity, there's a spike on the chart because you're adding liquidity. So using our SAM function, if we inject liquidity directly into the contract, not only does it bump our price up, our market cap increases, but it also is directly into liquidity. So say we inject $100,000, there's essentially $100,000 buy on the chart and $100,000 simultaneously being added to liquidity at the same time. So it's the best of both worlds. And obviously we design these contracts with our future utilities in mind, with the 25% of the revenue generated from our utilities going into the project. So with that in mind, we were trying to figure out the best way that we could actually do these buys in a way that we could essentially benefit both the market cap and both our liquidity ratio, because on our current BSC contract, it's one or the other. It either goes straight to liquidity or it goes straight into the chart on a buy, and it's leaving one out. Our SAM function solves that. We can inject it directly into the contract. It's going to spike our market cap as if there was a buy on the chart, and we're putting it directly into liquidity. So our liquidity ratio then increases.
Yeah, it's a huge boon. And we always preach equality between the two chains. We've spoken on many times on the fact that we will continue to support BSC. And in order to support it fully, we want it to be just as strong as ETH. And right now, ETH is a newer contract that has the same functionality and BSC does not. And additionally, has the ability to pair liquidity correctly, and BSC does not. So those are two main reasons there why we need to get off the BSC contract so that it can be just as strong. So this is a very positive thing. Once this is behind us, and I think it's going to be a very easy process that we'll dive more into. Those two features alone make this well worth it. So it just makes sense. It had to happen. So, but let's get into some of the lesser known reasons. So the first one is the 0% tax function, which we did discover early on, but a lot of people aren't aware of this. So yeah, let them know what's up with the tax.
Okay, so if anybody's ever realized on the BSC contract, we have never gone 0-0, right? We've never done a 0 buy. We've only scaled it down to 1. Our BSC contract is coded in the way that I can't go 0-0. I can only go 1-1. That's the absolute lowest that I can go. Our new contract allows us to change our tax to completely 0 if we want to do so. I can drop, buy tax to 0 or the sell tax to 0 or both to 0. We don't have that ability on the BSC contract. And moving forward with what our plans are for the project, as I've been very transparent about, eventually I plan on working our way down to 0-0. Obviously, when our utilities roll out, we start having revenue come in and we are pumping our chart, building our liquidity. I don't need the tax anymore. We're not going to need the tax to build our liquidity because I'm going to be artificially, essentially, building our liquidity and pumping our chart from the revenue that's generated from our utilities. So it's no longer needed. But on the BSC contract, I can't go true 0-0. I can only go 1-1. That's the lowest that I absolutely can go. And I'm going to roll right into this next thing, which I'm sure was Dane's next point. On our BSC contract, our transfer tax is directly pegged to our sell tax, right? So that's hard coded. I can't change our transfer tax to 0 without having a sell tax at 0. Versus our Ethereum contract, I can have a 0 transfer tax and still maintain a buy tax and a sell tax if I wish to do so. But we do not have the ability on BSC. It's pegged to our sell tax. So as long as we have a sell tax on BSC, we are going to have a transfer tax. And if you're wondering why, if that's the case, and you can change it on Ethereum, why is there a transfer tax on Ethereum? The reason being is we are all the same project, BSC or Ethereum. We're all SquidGrow, and we're not gonna take away transfer tax on one chain and leave it on the opposing chain. That's not fair. So we have kept them together. Whatever BSC is reflecting, Ethereum does the same. Obviously, BSC is the contract that's kind of holding back the Ethereum contract. The Ethereum contract can shine in a lot bigger ways than our BSC can, but that's another function in this migration that we're going to gain. Currently, we don't have it. I can't stand honestly having a transfer tax. I mean, yeah, it served its purpose. We've arbitragers have paid their tax and this, that, and the other as a result of that. But I don't care for a transfer tax. Unfortunately, our BSC contract has a transfer tax and it's pegged to our sell tax. And there's nothing that can be done about that because it's hard coded. So, in addition to this migration, we have the ability to go 0-0, buy and sell, and also 0 transfer tax.
Yeah, that's a big one, man. Because we all know that with the exchanges that we want to target, we know them. We're talking Binance, Coinbase, Robinhood, talking Gemini, Kraken, Crypto.com. These exchanges, of course, they want that tax at 0. And if you have even a 1-2, that can be a deal breaker. So this is a necessary step. We cannot have one chain unable to lower the transfer and unable to go down to 0 when the time comes. So that alone, those two reasons right there, transfer and sell tax is a final reason. So the final reason is a real simple one, and I'll just sort of touch on it. We both know right now, if you go on CMC, you'll see an ETH contract and you'll see a BSC contract. They both have their own individual address. Once we're on the BSC contract, we will in fact have the same contract address.
Yeah, correct. Right? I'm sorry. Correct.
Yeah, so we're going to have the same contract address across both chains. This is a big deal. Not only are they verified and audited, of course, they will be easier to find. So if someone wants to come search for SquidGrow, they can just find that one contract, making it a hell of a lot easier for new investors to find us, not be as confused. only one address needed to be added into the wallet. It just makes everything so much nicer and easier to not have to worry about two separate contracts for the same token. So, that's a really big boom and selling point in and of itself, just for me. I would almost want to migrate just because of that notion, not even talking about the liquidity and the SAM and the tax. So, all those are pretty pressing issues. And if we don't do it now and we start growing more, it would be much harder to do 6 months or a year down the road, right? So I think this is the right move. And I also think the 30 days notice that we're giving is plenty of time, not only to make sure that you guys are aware what's happening and are able to wrap your heads around it, but also it gives us time as the project team to make sure that we get CoinMarketCap, BSC scan, everything updated, which does take time, right, Chip? Like exchanges, all the processes there.
Correct. The most notable thing here is the exchanges. They need to give their platforms at least 14 days notice of a contract migration. And it was very important to us that obviously our community hears about it first from us and then has ample amount of time to ask questions, voice concerns, be thoroughly informed on the process moving ahead, versus, dropping an announcement, hey guys, tomorrow we're migrating. Everybody's going to be running around. Nobody's going to kind of know what to expect. We're giving 30 days notice so everybody can ask their questions and voice their concerns, get clarification on certain things. We wanted to give ample amount of time, um, leading into this contract migration.
Yep. So with that said, let's dive into the dynamics of how it's going to work, because everybody's probably wondering, what do I need to do? What should I be scared? Let's kind of jump into those, and I'll start with some simple ones. So
Okay.
again, reiterate, when is this happening?
October 1st.
All right. And how is it being done? Like, is there anything as a user holding SquidGrow tokens on BSC that I need to do?
Absolutely nothing. We are going to obviously at time of migration, we will pause trading on the BSC contract. We will take our snapshots. We will do mass airdrops to everybody. You will get 1-for-1, same token amount, same dollar amount. When BSC launches, it's going to be the same market cap, same ratio, same everything. It's just a new upgraded contract. So the only thing you may have to do, depending on your wallet provider, is input the new contract address, which is identical to the Ethereum contract. Ends in 557A. And these contracts have already been audited by Certec, already been looked over. They're verified on chain. Everything's ready to go as far as that goes.
Correct. And that leads into the obvious follow-up question: do you need to unstake to receive your tokens on BSC?
No, you do not. You do not have to unstake. We can pull the data from the staking contracts. We can see, what addresses hold what tokens, what rewards you're due. We can see all that stuff. So you do not have to do anything. We will airdrop the tokens 1-for-1 to your wallets. The only thing you might have to do, as I said, is input your contract address.
Correct. And I'll just say this without asking you. So the reason this method is chosen is to make it as seamless as possible for you as the investor. There's no risk to you, absolutely none. You have to connect, and there's no wallet to connect. There's nothing. You don't have to do anything. All you do is just kind of pay attention around the time it happens. If you want, you don't have to. You can come back a year. The tokens will still be airdropped to your wallet. And this is a really good methodology, because not only do you have to do nothing, but we have a pretty significant amount of holders on BSC. I think it's like 17,000, 18,000 shit, right?
I think we're around 19 and change.
19. Right. Yeah, so this airdrop is going to hit all of them, or pretty much all of them. So it won't skew our holders, which is great, because if you did use some type of migration DApp, without going off too much of a tangent, if you did take that method, you would potentially lose quite a bit of holders that don't airdrop. And of course, over the course of the following year, you're going to have people coming into the chat with that method asking, what do I need to do to get my new tokens? This way, the way that we're choosing, there's nothing you have to do. You're just going to receive them. It'll be business as usual. You'll be a contract on a new contract, brand new and shiny, doing all the things that ETH does. And we believe that this will send the BSC side much, much higher, the way it should be, because it'll no longer be held back by these trivial issues.
Well, one thing for sure, our contract's going to make liquidity very flawlessly, which is going to keep us very, very stable. You know, as I said, our Ethereum contract, when we designed it, we took our time. There's a lot of intricate functions within that contract. Obviously, you can go to our Ethereum contract and view it. It is pretty versatile when it comes to our needs of the project. Um, so, I mean, it's night and day difference. You know, be it this BSC contract we're currently on. You know, it was created, I believe, in 21, 22 ish. And you know, the crypto market has changed. You know, it changes. Aside from the swap and liquefy function within the contract, you know, we have rolled out SAM, SquidGrow absorption machine, and that's kind of a vital thing to us moving forward. You know, and I don't want to leave BSC kind of on the wayside. I want the ability to easily absorb projects on the BSC contract and pump our liquidity, not just pump the chart with a buy, throwing our liquidity to market cap ratio off. Everything that we've ever focused on in regards to the project, which is our emphasis on liquidity building, could go out the window real easy with a $500,000 buy. You know, you pump the chart 500,000, that's fine, it's up, great. Our liquidity ratio is out the window. On the same note, using the same function, we pump $500,000 into our contract. Not only do we pump 500,000 essentially buy on the chart, we've just increased our liquidity by $500,000. I mean that's a win. You know, there's no risk to throwing our ratios off utilizing this method.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique feature. I've not seen it in other tokens. Actually, not at all. And I don't think, quite frankly, that other tokens are capable of doing what we're attempting to do with SAM in the maybe short term, midterm, long term. I can't tell you, but we do have some plans with that will likely shock the space when we do come to fruition.
And I kind of just wanted to get back into our reasoning for the mass airdrop. So obviously we had two options, right, for this contract migration. We had the DApp option where we create a DApp, we fund the DApp and the contracts, and you connect your wallet and you essentially trade one for one your old BSC tokens to the new BSC tokens, right? That's kind of a pain in the ass, right? I mean, that's something that you have to physically take time out of your day, sit down, connect, wait for trading to go live, connect, and then claim your tokens, right? That's a pain in the ass. And now, you know, there's certain investors, I'm sure, that's not in the Telegram, not following Twitter. So, you know, some of our investors aren't going to see that, or excuse me, our community members aren't going to see that. So, you know, a month later, they're going to look at their wallet and they're going to be like, where the hell's the value of my SquidGrow? Like, what the hell happened? They're going to come into the chat, follow us on Twitter. You know, did we rug? Like, what's going on? No, it's just a contract migration. And, you know, but there will be an influx, I'm sure, of people coming in asking questions. Hey, what's going on? You know, hey, this is how you do it. You got to connect your wallet, blah, 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 blah. Versus all you have to do is add this contract ID. Tokens are already funded. They're already in your wallet. You do nothing. And although there is the risk of human error with the mass airdrop, right? Because you know I'm manually inputting. Obviously, we pull the data, but you know I could accidentally delete a digit, or maybe give somebody the benefit and delete or add a digit or two, and increase their token supply, which you know can happen. Um, but there's a certain level of human error doing a mass airdrop versus just the DApp trading. But weighing the pros and cons to it, you know, I wanted to take the approach to where I didn't want to inconvenience anybody any more than we already are with this. So we took the stance that we were going to do a mass airdrop. I will go slow with it. You know, I'm not going to just mass airdrop 20 addresses at the same time. I will do it in chunks, verifying token amounts, verifying addresses. I will go slowly with it. I will take my time to minimize any human error. And you know, we just take it easy, take it slow, and get it done. You know, we can have this thing turned around, you know, in a day. I'm sure, probably several hours.
Definitely. And I think, unfortunately, one of the perceptions about migrations is that they're scary. You know, they're something that in the past people have perhaps futtered about. But what you'll notice, and I've noticed this trend myself, being in the marketing side, is I've helped Catcoin, I've helped Kiba, I've helped Floki, I've helped Hodl Token, a few others. I've been involved in some high profile migrations that were above 100 million. Put it that way. And oftentimes people would panic leading into the migration, and sometimes they would pump. But almost every time I would see a very positive price action trend as soon as the migration concluded. And so this actually may be a kind of sleeper bullish catalyst for us. I'm not sure. I can be speculating, but it's something that I did notice because as with ILO and the ETH bridge, you probably noticed that drew a bunch of eyes to our project. This tends to have the same effect. So while you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I'm nervous, I'm scared, this actually might be the opposite. And it should be looked at as the opposite because the upgrades that we're getting on the BS side are actually very, very solid and they're much needed. And if we're going to scale up and get to the billions, they're pretty much required. So this is a step that we must take, not one that we're choosing to take. It's one that we must take. So just understand that, and also understand the dev, Calamari is here with us, our team. We're going to be with you guys every step of the way as this happens to ensure that everybody's protected. You know, Shib has your back. So you have absolutely nothing to worry about with the migration process. It's going to be handled in the most professional way, and it's going to be very easy for you as a holder to sit back and watch.
Correct. I mean, we got your back, guys, and we are trying to be as make this as easy as a transition as possible, and that's kind of why we are going forward with the mass airdrops. It really, truly is out of necessity for the project. It's not something that I woke up one day and said, "Yeah, you know what? I just want to, put my community through this and migrate contracts." This isn't a conversation that I enjoy having. You know, um, we put a lot of time, a lot of thinking, a lot of effort into this plan that we have. It wasn't just, thrown together in a matter of a week. We have been planning this and talking about this for some time. We knew eventually that the time was going to come to do it. And that time was almost right before we launched ETH, but we decided to shelf it for a little while and, not kind of taint our ILO that we had running. We didn't want to be dealing with a BSC migration of a contract while we're running our ILO platform. The
Well,
time has come.
we were locked too. Our liquidity was locked.
Oh,
So
you're right. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, I couldn't have done it right before. I could have done it shortly thereafter.
he
Um,
would have been able to get
um,
the same contract though. So it was about ensuring we get the same contract. There
cor-
are some numbers there as far as the timing that just didn't make sense. We would have preferred to do it all at once back then, of course, but we would not have got the same contract. The liquidity was locked, so it just wasn't possible. So that now is when we've chosen to do it, and I think it's a perfect time. And a 30-day notice is pretty fair, I think, especially for the exchanges.
Correct. So just to kind of give some clarification on kind of what's going on and how this will work. Obviously, our liquidity unlocks September 11th. I will extend the liquidity lock until October 1st. And when October 1st comes, in all honesty, I'll probably have it expire probably the very end of September, the very end of this month. So just to make sure that, it's unlocked, ready to go. And the day of October 1st, we're gonna hit the ground running. We're gonna, take our snapshots, disable trading. Obviously, we'll be transparent about it. We'll pause trading. You will not be able to sell, buy, or transfer your tokens on BSC at that point. We will take our snapshots, and this ensures that the balance that you hold at that moment is the same balance that you are getting. And I hope that the community is not, nobody in the community tries to, play any manipulation stuff because it's not going to work out for you. We will pause. We will pause. We will pause trading, and your tokens will essentially be stuck. We will take our snapshots. We will start compiling our list. I will start throwing together that list. Start getting the Merkle ID and the contract ready to go to do the mass airdrops. I will break the LP pair on BSC. I will seed that LP pair to the new contract with the new tokens, and then I will lock that liquidity, and we will do our mass airdrop to the community, and I will turn trading on, and we will resume business as normal.
Awesome. And just a nitpicky question, one that I'm sure it will get asked, so we'll touch on it now before we jump into the next major thing. Stick with us, guys, because this is not the only announcement. We're going to jump into the next thing here in a few minutes. But what happens to the old PooCoin chart? For those that still follow PooCoin, what happens on our CMC? What's people that are worried about stats and tracking? What
Okay.
can they?
Okay, so our current PooCoin chart, our current Dex Tools chart that you see currently on BSC will be frozen in time. It will no longer go up. It will no longer be down. It will just kind of be stuck there. And with the new contract, we will have a new chart starting fresh from the moment of liquidity injection. Now, in regards to CMC, we are just removing one contract, adding a new contract. So our CMC chart will stay the same. And we will very quickly apply for the rank and verification that we currently have on CMC to make that transition as easy as possible, obviously listing on CMC. And our chart will remain the same. Our CMC page will go unchanged. The only difference will be our BSC contract will have been switched out. 765 will be no longer be seen on our CMC chart. It will be 557A.
Correct, and that's I think that's a pretty important point. One that may I think that's a good thing that we still have that one aggregated chart on CMC, and I wanted to point that out because a lot of people may be concerned about that. And as far as the rank goes, we've actually already contacted CMC and let them know about this, so they're aware of it. The process has already started. It will happen very quickly. I don't foresee any scenario where we're like waiting around for a rank for a year again. I think it's going to either stay or come pretty quickly right back once things are integrated. Yeah, that's pretty much it on that part of the chart stuff. Oh yeah, okay. So what happens to people on exchanges? Are they okay? Do they need to get off of exchanges?
On the exchange, you don't have, obviously, I suggest, I have a saying, not your keys, not your crypto. I would not keep your crypto, anything on exchanges if you can avoid it. But if you are on an exchange, you don't have to do anything. We will do a mass airdrop to the exchange, and the exchange will distribute those tokens. So obviously, we've got to start that process with the exchanges very quickly to give their platforms ample time. And if you want, you can transfer those tokens off of the exchange, or you can leave them there. For example, if an exchange holds 1% of supply, 1.6% of supply, or whatever, we airdrop them that amount, and they're going to distribute those tokens to everybody across their platform, one for one. If you'd rather pull your tokens off of the SEX onto the DEX, I mean that's completely up to you. But in regards to where you hold your tokens, you don't have to do anything in regards to that.
Nice. And yeah, final question that we already touched on. That our tokens retain the same value. Yes, it's going to be the same price and same market cap, 1-to-1 swap. No
Correct.
changes.
Correct. The only change in the contract, guys, is our BSC contract is a funky decimal right now. It's 19. We are changing to a 9 decimal contract, which does not affect the price. It's what Ethereum contract operates on. It's 9 decimals. And the reason why we are changing the decimals is for futures on exchanges. Currently, unless you're something like a Floki, a Shiba, a Pepe, they're not going to list you for futures with 19 decimals. The cutoff is 9. So that's the only thing that's changing as far as like the contract. Like we're dropping from 19 decimals down to 9 decimals, which is, as I said, the same decimal amount that our current Ethereum contract operates on. And again, that does not change the price, does not change the market cap, does not change the amount of tokens that you're going to get. Everything that you see in your wallet at the time migration start will be the same when we go live. If you have $1,000 on the BSC contract and we migrate, you're going to have $1,000 again on the new contract, same amount of tokens. Whether it's 10,000 tokens or 100 billion tokens or whatever it is, your token count stays the same, dollar price stays the same, market cap's the same. Nothing's changed. We are just upgrading to something new and shiny.
Yeah, and there, if you read between the lines in an answer, I heard Chip say the word futures. That's certainly something that we've been looking into for an extended period of time. But the reality is, the decimals have been holding us back. That is no longer
Correct.
the case on the contract. So that's a big one. I'm glad you mentioned it.
I want that volume from future trading. We can't get it right now with the BSC contract.
Yeah, you guys let us know in the chat. You want Bybit? You want Mexi? You want KuCoin? What's your favorite futures platform? I'd like to hear from the community on that. Going forward, we will definitely be looking into all of them, but we'll probably start and work our way up as we always do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. I know a lot of people here are going to be loving trading SquidGrow in that manner. We got a lot of DGen futures traders in the house here, probably listening to us, that are going to be itching to get their fingers on that. So I think that pretty much wraps up the first half
Well,
right?
hang on. Hang on. Let's touch on this as well. And also with this migration, we get a brand new shiny bridge. So the bridge can open back up with the new contracts. You'll be able to bridge back and forth from BSC to Ethereum. So that's another plus to this situation.
Correct. And can I also say something about the exchange idea on that note, Shib?
Go ahead.
A teaser. Yeah. So another option for a bridge that we can do in conjunction with that is, of course, to get on a tier one exchange. And with the tier one exchange, I'm talking about a real tier one exchange, not Gate. I'm talking about a real one. And with the real one, why that would be considered sort of a bridge is we would put both supplies on there. We'd have both ETH and BSC on there. So imagine being on Binance with having both supplies on there. You wouldn't need a bridge. So that
And I agree with this. This is my preferred method because it's the most secure. It's the safest, right? Everybody knows bridges, have been attacked from time to time, right? There's, sometimes a hacker is able to find an exploit. It happens all the time. Binance bridge got hacked, right? But if you're bridging within an exchange and that supply is held within that exchange, yeah, it's not going to be as fast as a typical bridge because you got to do a deposit and then as soon as it hits, you got to turn around and do a withdrawal in the opposing chain. But it is safer. A little more work. Obviously, some of these exchanges, and this is the drawback, some of these exchanges do require KYC versus a bridge being fully decentralized, no KYC. So there is a drawback, with one over the other. One, you might have to do a KYC. It's a little slower. It is more secure. The other way, you can remain completely anonymous still. It's a lot quicker. But, bridges are, on the target list for these hackers out there. But with the plans as is right now, upon the conclusion of this migration, obviously, we will roll out a bridge. We aren't going to give a tentative time, but you're not going to be waiting 6-7 months for it. It will be relatively quick. We already know the direction that we're going to go. So there's that as well.
I'm glad you pointed that out. So that's two more things I'm going to add into the Medium article at the end of this voice chat to summarize everything. So those are really key points. And so you guys now know why we haven't gone ahead and listed on a major tier one yet is part of the reason. We had to upgrade this contract. We couldn't
And
throw some
also, exactly. And also, if you're wondering why these new exchanges that are rolling out are only listing ETH token, this is why. Because we have to migrate our contracts with the exchanges. There is a fee associated with these exchanges. It's roughly about $10,000 an exchange, depending on the exchange. Sometimes it's a little less, but there is also a fee associated with the migration. There's a process, so it doesn't make any sense to go ahead and fully integrate our current BSC contracts into our new markets just to turn around 30 days later and have to do a migrate and then pay another fee to do that migration. It doesn't make sense. So we have there's a couple exchanges that we can only list Ethereum, but there are obviously many exchanges that we can list both of our tokens on there. And we have already talked to those exchanges about integrating that. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be an immediate thing. It is a process, but it is an option. But that is why we have not listed our BSC token on any of these new exchanges that are rolling out currently, because we're going to have to turn around and do a migration.
Correct. So with that said, any closing points you want to throw in there, Shib, that I forgot? And if not, maybe we can quickly open the floor up for commentary from Calamari or Dave, if you guys are with us, or Pug, just to get your technical expertise and opinion on what the migration entails, and is this a good thing, and was it avoidable?
So I think you guys pretty much covered it pretty well. Like, this is a full-on upgrade. We're moving forward. This is progression. Might be a little inconvenient at first, but overall, good things happening and more to come, right?
Correct. Correct.
There you go. All right. So we'll leave it at that unless Dave wants to say anything. Again, guys, we are going to take more questions on this, of course, at the end. I'm sure there's some things we didn't touch on you may be wondering about. We'll stick around and answer you. We're just going to stick to the major points here for the recording for those that are listening later. So that's the first half, a big first half. The second half, I know Shib's real excited for this one. He's
Oh
also,
yeah, I'm so excited. I'm
yeah,
packing my lip. I'm packing my lip of Copenhagen right now.
yeah, dude. I don't usually get anxious, but I'm a little anxious. And shout out to all the people listening in the chat. We love you guys. 115 people in here right now. Thanks for tuning in to this. Hopefully, we can educate you on what's going to go down here and come away feeling a bit better from it. And again, for anybody that's not able to listen in or is not English native speaking, we are going to have a text version of this immediately following, posted on Medium that you can translate. Let's jump into the second half. With that said, let me pull up.
Oh boy.
let me pull up my text here because it's a long one. So thanks for bearing with us, guys, as we go through this. So I'm gonna just open with this, Shib, and I'll let you say what it is. All right. So I will say this: all good things must come to an end. I think this is a prime example of that in many ways. But I will also say the common quote: "Too much of a good thing can be a bad thing." Right. And so what are we doing here, Shib? What are we talking about?
Okay, guys. So the news we're all waiting for. Obviously we have ran substantially high APRs for the better half of our life. Actually, the entirety of our life.
5
And
quarters.
correct. And obviously recently we changed some things up. We lowered our APR. We implemented fees for sustainability, and we trialed that for 60 days. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The project cannot sustain the staking any longer. Our rate of tokens that we are giving out, even at the current APR, is not sustainable. In full transparency, this last 30 days on the Ethereum contract, we pulled down about $60,000 in tokens in fees from harvesting, staking, restaking. But we gave out 6 figures in tokens. And obviously, we've given out millions of dollars since the inception of our staking. And moving forward for the project with exchange listings, maintenance of those exchanges, we have to start buckling down on our tokens, and we can't just continue to hand them out as we have been. So we have made the hard decision to stop staking rewards effective October 1st. Now with that said, obviously we have some utilities coming out. There will be some buys on chart. Tokens can be accumulated. We are looking at other ways that we can implement and kind of offset this loss to the community as far as the staking goes. But there is no solid plan in place. We are spitballing ideas and are bouncing ideas off. But as it stands right now, October 1st, we are going to discontinue our staking. So this will be the last month that you are staking on both chains, BSC and Ethereum.
So, Shib, with that said, because it has a bearish undertone to it, let's dive into the reasons for this real quickly, because I think it's very important to understand why this is being done from both a developmental standpoint and also an investor standpoint on your guys' end. This is a bullish thing, probably even more bullish than the migration, in my opinion. I don't have the numbers right here. I don't know. I'm sure if our dev does, but we'll dump into those if we have some of them. But let's just start by saying what it is we know about the available supply. Let's touch on that a bit, Shib.
As far as what the project controls?
Yeah, so just going off the medium that I've got posted, basically the project is giving out far too many tokens. It essentially way more, not even close to the same amount that we're actually getting back from the deposit, the harvest, and the withdrawal fees, even with the reduction in APR to 10% from 100. The numbers of tokens, it's still like a far cry away from being sustainable. It's so far off that it's actually it's just hard to see any possible way of keeping that for an extended period of time without doing a great deal of damage to the actual treasury that we need to get on the tier 1 exchanges that you guys want to see, and to get on the bridge, and to get on future mystery utilities that we've alluded to. So we can't give away tokens that we don't have. It's that simple. We do not mint tokens. This is not Dogecoin. This is not XRP. We don't just create money out of thin air like the Federal Reserve. We have a finite supply here, right? And we have what we have. So when the numbers stop to make sense and sustainability is no longer within reach, You have to be watchful of that. And so luckily we have a really great blockchain team and development team behind the scenes that have been watching that like a hawk for some time. And Shib has been doing everything he can to keep it going for as long as he can. But at this point, it's simply just not feasible. And maybe we can let Calamari kind of touch on this a little bit because you've put us on this for the past several months, I know.
So essentially, we just need tokens. The team needs tokens for listings. We use. It's just not simple to give out all the tokens. That's pretty much sums it up pretty well. That being said, there's value being created behind the scenes here, so it's not that big of a deal in regards to the big picture, right? The other thing you got to consider is that most of these tokens that people are giving out, we don't have the numbers on this, of course, but essentially it creates some sell pressure, right? You get to hold your bag while you sell your yield. So it just makes sense in the long run. We used it as a something to kind of reward the early adopters. And now we're kind of moving on to like a second phase of the project, right? Or a more mature phase of the project. So overall good growth and more to come, right?
I agree with that.
Well, and so on that note, you just kind of led into Calamari. Maybe Shib, talk to us about the sell pressure a little bit. Why is this why is it a good thing? What in the beginning staking was, but like now what we're seeing, what's up with the sell pressure from it?
Well, I mean, obviously, from the point in time that we added staking into the platform, we incurred nothing but sell pressure as a result of these tokens that we're getting. Because as Kalmar said, you get to hang on to your bag and you get to sell your yield and you get to maintain your position. So, we're giving out free money, free tokens, and they just get sold on the chart. And we're weathering sell pressure from the staking contract every day, and we have been for months. Obviously, it's been worse at times and a little better at others, but there's a lot of backward movement. Around the time I was doing my buybacks, everybody seemed to want to unstake or harvest their rewards and take us backwards. And so it's like there's a constant wave kind of working against us as we're trying to push us up and onward and move forward, and we're kind of always getting pulled back down from the sell pressure. Now, that's not to say that all sell pressure obviously is going to stop, but there has been an awful lot of sell pressure from our staking contracts. Obviously, I'm sure everybody can understand that. I mean, we've given out very high APRs for our entire life. I mean, just the last 2 months is the lowest it's ever been at 10%, which is still higher than majority of the projects out there. And we've done it our entire life, and we've weathered that sell pressure, and we offset it with buybacks and progression of the project. But that's another aspect of this thing as well. Aside from the project needing to maintain our token supply for the exchange listings, because just because you give an exchange, say 1% of supply to list there for the market making account, when that 1% gets depleted, you have to top that account up again. You've got to add more tokens. So there's a constant outflow of tokens going to these exchanges to maintain our requirements there. And so it's not like we can just fund all of our exchanges. Let's say we've listed every exchange and every exchange is fully funded. Well, if we don't have any more tokens, we can't top those markets off when those tokens get sold, and we're kind of at a standstill. We're stuck. And it's gotten to the point where we're good now, but if we continue this rate of burn up, we're going to hinder ourselves down the road. And then factoring in the sell pressure that we're weathering from the staking contracts. I've hated seeing it. I obviously it's not everybody, and there's no harm in pulling profit at all. But when everybody is harvesting and everybody is selling, I say everybody very loosely, it's a lot of sell pressure. Whether it's $100, whether it's $50, whether it's $1,000, there's a lot of sell pressure coming from the staking contracts, and as it happens every day, day in, day out, we're just sell pressure all day long. And there was a point in time that a lot of the sell pressure was fully coming from the staking contracts.
Yeah, and there's a lot to unpack here, but I mean, I'll just give you an example of someone that I knew. I'm not going to say who this was. There was someone a few months back that told me that he got about $14,000 of staking rewards in the month that we did 100% APR. And I'm not going to say how many tokens he had or who it was, but that just gives you an example of how unsustainable it is. And so even if you take that down, 90%, which we did, we went down to 10%. That person is still receiving $1,400 a month, and then we're at 10, 11 million market cap, right? So imagine how much sell pressure that amounts to when we get to 100 or a billion, right? So
Correct.
the reality is staking will solidify a young project's floor, and it did that. And not only did it do that, everybody that's been here early with us, all the OGs that have been taking advantage of staking for 15 months or less, have been stacking big bags and solidifying their place on this journey with the help of staking. And that's an awesome thing. You guys were rewarded and then some. And for being early adopters of SquidGrow and sticking with us through a brutal year of 2022 and the first half of this year as well. So brighter future now, I think, because this sell pressure gets removed, at least adding more, right? There may be some from what we did. That's okay. We're cutting it off now, and we're going to take those tokens that we're able to save, and best believe we're going to put them to good use. But that takes us, I think, into the other major reason why staking isn't exactly fair. And I think that we can touch on the NFT plans here, segue into that. So, we always talk about balance between ETH and BSC, and we're upgrading BSC for that reason. But with Mike Miller's collection being only on ETH, that would mean that the staking would only be available to people on ETH. So BSC would be getting the short end of the stick there. That's not fair. It just isn't. On top of that, NFT staking, talking about that a little bit, NFT staking is something that only people who can afford the NFTs could take advantage of, which means the little guy perhaps gets left behind. And that's not fair. And there's really no feasible solution from a developmental standpoint or from a balance standpoint that makes this work. So as great of an idea as NFT staking sounds like, it's really, again, just adding even more sell pressure and reducing the available supply in our treasury even faster. So that's another thing that's going to be scrapped with the end of staking is the NFT staking. But with that said, we're also exploring other avenues for utility with our NFTs at this time. Not only will they have, the blue chip mints built in for the ultra rares, we're looking for other things. And I think Mike S. Miller's NFTs, quite frankly, could do just fine without any utility because of who he is and how badass they are. But we are still looking for other replacements for this. So just keep that in mind.
Well said, Dane. Guys, I mean, again, this isn't something that, I just woke up one day, got up on the wrong side of the bed and said, hey, I'm going to do away with staking. This has been something in the background that we've been dealing with for a while, and I've done everything I possibly could to extend it. Obviously, the first half of life on the staking contract, I bought all the tokens. So, to feed the staking contracts, and just to put that into view for everybody, the last 6 months of our previous contract, we gave out $1.8 million. Well, I bought those tokens on the chart and I loaded contracts up and I gave those tokens out. We wouldn't have been able to sustain our staking as long as we have if I hadn't have done that. And since now we kind of have the mindset where we're going to start focusing the money that's being spent to develop the project for the future, money can just be spent a little better than buying tokens on the chart and doing buybacks. It was fun while it lasted. I enjoyed allowing everybody to, see their bags grow and hold their positions. I mean, it's been fun. Everybody that's been here from the beginning greatly benefited from the staking contracts. But, from a business standpoint, it's just not sustainable. I'd much rather spend $1.8 million developing the project or $1.8 million using it to go towards a major tier one exchange listing. Yeah, I have money. That doesn't mean that I spend it frivolously. We operate on budgets and I spend my money wisely. Obviously in the early days, we spent a lot of money in the beginning. But we're kind of buckling down now and spending wisely, and we're directing our funds where they need to be directed, and just kind of not just throwing bundles of money into the fire and just, hoping something catches. We're spending very strategically, and right now a lot of the budget's being spent on utilities. We have a lot of things coming, and there will come a point in time where we can actually start talking about those as they get a little closer. But I think this is for the longevity of the community and the project. This is the right move completely. So I will just go on and say, if anybody in this community trusts me and trusts the team, trust and believe, this was not an easy decision for us. It's not something that I've enjoyed, but for the growth and benefit long term of the project, this is what needs to be done.
Correct. I think, Shib, you've been incredibly generous. For 5 full quarters, people have been stacking their bags that were early adopters of SquidGrow, and that's what it's about. You've secured a bigger stake in this moonshot now, and that's a great thing. And we owe Shib a big thank you for that, for those that were able to take advantage of it. And if you look around the space and you look at staking amongst other projects, you'll find tiny APRs, the ones that are sustainable. You'll find projects that mint tokens that offer it. And you'll also find projects that offer it for a very limited amount of time, not 5 quarters. Most of the time, maybe like 1 if they're lucky. Staking is a fixed lock, high fees for withdrawing, all sorts of different things in there to try to trap you. We didn't do any of that. It was pretty much free to enter, free to out, very small tax throughout, very high boosted staking. It's worth taking a bow for, I think, because that was something that was pretty incredible as far as how many tokens were given out. I think that we can easily say, at least, ballpark range, a couple mil, right, at least, in token values were distributed out. How much you got to put a number on, would you think?
Well, as I said a little earlier, the 6 months leading up to this new contract that we were on, I'm talking about the previous contract. For the 6 months in time that contract was live, it was $1.8 million on the BSC contract.
Right, and that's just those 6 months.
Obviously, that's dependent on the market cap, right? So at the time of the calculation, when we migrated, I think we were around the 10 million range to this current contract that we're on now, and we did the calculation. It was $1.8 million just in the 6 months. That's not talking about the rest of the time that we had it going from inception. So just the very last 6 months, it was $1.8 million given out.
Yeah, I will add to that. EK in the chat, shout out to EK, made a point that I noticed a long time ago. I've fortunate and unfortunate enough to be involved in the rewards token craze of 2021. You guys know I was involved in HODL token. There's a couple people here that actually held that token with me at the time. And what we learned, and what I learned, and what I think SafeMoon and a couple others learned with rewards tokens, is that the rich get richer real fast. And not only that, the rewards are not sustainable. You either run out of tokens or you run out of volume. And that's that was a harsh lesson for a lot of those projects back in 2021. And we're not looking to repeat those mistakes. So this is a power move, the way I see it, to prevent us from having too much of a good thing. As I said in the beginning, it's nice to have a beer, but when you become a full-blown alcoholic, it can kill you. And it's the same with staking. It's nice to have some staking for a while, give everybody that's early adopter a little bit more tokens and stake in the game. But after a while, too much of that can kill you. It's the same thing. So I'm very happy that we're getting rid of this. And I think it's a decision that's been hard, but it's one that we have to move forward with for sure. And I think it's going to help us. I think it's really going to lift the ceiling for us. A lot of that sell pressure will be slowly drift away.
I agree with that completely. I mean, we can't calculate, obviously, the amount of sell pressure that we have incurred from the staking contracts, but it has been substantial. And with that sell pressure, obviously, we've lost market cap as a result of that. So I'm going to be very curious and very interested to see, without that added sell pressure, what we can actually achieve without the constant pulling back down.
Right, and we don't need gimmicks anymore. And unfortunately, I would say I would call staking, reflections, all this stuff a bit of a gimmick. Burning with a tax, burning tokens, all this stuff. Like, these are gimmicks for degen projects, kind of. For young projects trying to build a name for themselves to start. And of course, it helped us do that. But we're a mature project looking to evolve to a much higher level now. So we don't need gimmicks. We've got serious moves in store, as we've been alluding to. So this is just one of those Band-Aids we sort of have to rip off today. And that's what it is, So just like with the migration to on the BSC contract, we are looking after our investors, and we're looking to make sure that you guys understand what's happening and what you need to do to make sure that your tokens are secure and good. So maybe we can jump into a little FAQ now. So let me pull up this.
Let's go ahead and do that and start taking questions.
Okay, so let's go through a couple of these generic questions first, and then we'll open up the floor.
Okay.
So, first one: is there a time limit to withdraw my token out of the Ethereum side? Like, do I have to unstake rather?
No, you do not. Your tokens will remain safe in the staking contracts. They will not go anywhere. Obviously, it's more ideal to pull your tokens out sooner rather than later, but they will be safe and sound whether you leave them there for 2 years or you leave them there for 2 months. They're not going anywhere. You'll be able to always connect to the D app and remove those tokens.
Nice. And then on BSC, you're going to receive the airdrop regardless. So you can stay staked, you can unstake out. You don't need to, basically, because at the end, those tokens are going to become void, of course, on this old contract for BSC, and you'll be airdropped whether you're in the staking pool, whether you aren't. Is that correct, Shib?
Yeah, that's correct. You for the BSC, you don't have to remove your tokens from the contract if you do not want to. We will airdrop you the same amount of tokens that you possess, whether you're in the staking contract or whether it's in your wallet. It's irrelevant.
Okay, and it looks like we've pretty much covered everything else. Yeah, that's all that I have written down here. I think we did a big broad stroke there with talking about the staking. So with that said, guys, before we open up the floor, Calamari made a narrative. Pug, Dave, still here. Crypto Saz, anybody on the team, Mike, Troy, is there anything that you guys want to say before we open up the floor? Just because we do have this recording on, so I think it'd be good to hear from some of you guys very briefly if you want to jump in.
Yeah, I'll jump in first then. With anything changing in the space, it's a big sort of unknown. So a lot of people are hesitant to jump on board or see how it unfolds and stuff. But if everything's automated, there's less risk involved. So I think the team's doing everything 100% transparently and correctly to avoid exploits and stuff with regards to people bridging tokens and, sending tokens away to get their V2 tokens and stuff like that. And as for, the staking situation, I think that's very, very fair. If it's draining Shib's money, which is all well and good for some people to take money from others, but that money could be used more effectively to get us onto bigger tiered exchanges, as well as generate more press about SquidGrow in general, as well as develop utilities as well. So I think everything going forward is just, very, very positive and evolution. So I think that's probably a big, big point to prove would be evolution.
I would say that.
What are they doing?
Man,
oh my
there's
gosh,
so many,
I missed.
Hey, Isaac, quiet for a second. Sorry. There's so many awesome freaking utilities that Shib has already doing and is in the midst of doing that you guys, we've had news of. But there's also stuff that we know that's also coming out. And it's awesome that Shib's trying things to help the community and trying things just to, benefit all of us. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it's temporary, it's temporary. So it's like, we're so rich with utility that I just don't think it's like even a big deal. I was glad I could get the staking while I was there, but it was a gift. So it's like, come on, keep giving me stuff, shit. No, it's
Yeah, well said, Troy. Mike, appreciate it, man. Calamari, Meta.
No, I think I've said what needs to be said. Yeah, good to go here.
All right, real quickly before I open up the floor, Big Kid, Saz, Sam, anything you guys want to add? Any final closing thoughts, Shib, before we open it up?
Morning, everybody. Yeah, I'm all for this. It's Shib's been incredibly generous, and yeah, it's bullish. I'm happy with it. But yeah, just one thing for everybody. It's absolutely clear that you don't need to do anything, and during fundamental upgrades and things like this, scammers are just rubbing their hands together. So remember, you need to do nothing, and just make sure that other people know within the community that they need to do nothing. So yeah, just be as helpful to each other as you can, as you always are, and that's it really.
Yeah, and just to throw another point out there, as I said previously, everybody knows what the Ethereum contract address is currently, right? It's on our CMC, it's in the chat. Our BSC contract will have the same contract ID. So if you happen to see in your wallet SquidGrow tokens with another contract ID number, do not interact with those. They are not tokens from us. Our contract ID and our tokens will share the same as Ethereum. So just be mindful and cautious of that. As which was just mentioned, scammers are going to be rubbing their hands together. Somebody might throw together a fraudulent SquidGrow contract and airdrop them to our holders. It could happen. Just know that the information that's posted here on our official channels, here in our official Telegram, that's the information to go off of. Don't see a random Instagram account or random Facebook account that we do not declare on our website as being us. Don't go off of information with that. I saw a little bit ago that there was a fraudulent Instagram page that was tricking people into a SquidGrow airdrop. Obviously, we've never done airdrop here, so obviously that's gonna change with this migration. We will do the airdrops, but it is from the same contract address that we currently have on Ethereum. So just be sure that you are interacting with the proper tokens. I will move as quickly as I can to get our logos up and get us listed on CMC and ranked and verified, so everybody can see their price on their tokens, and you will truly know then that that is the legit token. But if you have any questions, concerns following these airdrops, please, before you move anything, before you try to sell anything, come to chat and ask somebody from the team, and just make sure that the tokens that you are interacting with are the legit tokens.
All right. I think we can open up the floor now. I'm going to keep the recording going, guys. So just be mindful of that. Make sure you give some time for others to talk. Can try to get as many as we can up here. Been going for about an hour and 10 already. So maybe try to keep this to about 45 minutes of this. And then again, when we're done, I'm going to drop a Medium article that covers pretty much all of this. And if there's anything that I don't cover in the Medium article that I noticed in the chat, I will add it to it extensively over the coming week. So with that said, let's hear from Sesh and Crypto Hustler. I'll go ahead and unmute both you guys. So we'll let Sesh go first, and then Crypto Hustler as well.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, man? Sorry, I'm just in the city. It's a bit windy right now, but I've been listening to the whole thing. Yeah, man, it sounds good, man. I just want to say to everybody out there, like, just hearing about migrating to the BNB and how you don't have to do anything. Like, I don't know how much more easier Shib can make it. Like, you guys definitely killed it. Also with the staking, obviously, some people are gonna be like gutted and all that, but for me, I kind of knew in the back of my mind that this is gonna happen, man. Just like due to sell pressure, jumping on more exchanges and stuff like that. So I get it, man, and I'm with it,
Thank you, Sesh. It's appreciated. Again, this isn't, this is something that we tried our best to avoid, but all good things come to an end. And as we said, for sustainability of the project, long-term vision, this is something that has to go. And I'm not going to miss the sell pressure from the staking contracts at all.
Nope, I don't think anybody is. It's not very fun to earn tokens if they don't go up in value. So
Agreed.
this is going to help that value. If you want to look at it in layman's terms, that's the best way to look at it, in my opinion. And we need those tokens for those power plays. That's plain and simple. Those are tokens that do you want us to give those away, or do you want us to use them to get on Binance? Right? Like that's our option. So I think this is the much more bullish approach, personally. With that said, what's up, Crypto Hustler?
Yo, what's up, Dan? How you doing, brother? So
Hey, how's it going, buddy? How's it going, my
Hey,
friend?
I want to say first off, bro, thank you for for the generosity with the staking, man. A lot of us receive, great rewards, off the staking, man. And a lot of projects, are not offering things in what you're offering, bro. So when you gave us a staking and you gave us those high percentages, a lot of us, we grew our bags substantially just off staking alone. So, thank you for that first off, bro. And I think, second off, that you're upgrading the BSC contract, that's very bullish because that helps us grow and sustain larger market caps, and it also helps protect and secure the project even more, knowing that you have certain intricate functions integrated into the contract, and you can do things and how you want them to how you want them to be done. So I feel like that your planning is very, very unique, and how you take an approach of this project, because I mean, all I see is us advancing to the top, where you want us to be. So everything that you're doing is helping us get there. So a lot of people may not understand, your vision, but man, I clearly see that shit. Like I told you, a year ago that I was around with you, from the top to the bottom. You know what I'm saying? From the bottom to the top. And I'm still here with you.
Yes, you did, and obviously I've interacted with you many times throughout that year, man, and thank you for your trust in the project and myself, and thank you for being so understanding. It's my hope that the masses in our community understand that this is in the best interest of everybody here. If you want to continue to see the value of your bag grow, like Dane said, yeah, accumulating more tokens is all fun and dandy, but if they don't grow in value, I mean, what's the point, right? So,
Facts. So, bro, thank you for everything that you're doing, man. And man, I just can't wait to see this at the top. And man, let's fucking grow.
let's fucking grow.
Thank you, Hustler. All right, I don't actually see any more hands up. Let's see. And don't be shy, ladies and gents. SquidGrow Army, ask away if you got any comments. We got half the team up here to hang with you, so feel free to throw that hand up. We'll get you unmuted right away. Wow. Almost, that's pretty good, man. I think we must have been pretty thorough then. That's I think that's a positive thing to see. I was expecting all sorts.
Well, yeah, I mean, some people might just be shy, guys. This is the time to express your concerns openly. If you have any, if you want clarification, if you have questions, raise your hand, come up and speak to us. Yeah, obviously we are recording. We're trying to make this pretty formal, so that's why you can't just freely come up and ask questions. But please raise your hand, and we will pull you up to speak with us. Darwin, Red and Gold Squid said that he's trying to speak.
I see him now. All right, Darwin, I'm getting you up here. I'm also going to get Squid Tower. You're after Darwin. So we got Darwin in the house. What's up, man? You are unmuted. Darwin, just got to unmute your mic.
Yeah, hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm happy about the staking finishing. My only question on that is, if we're coming off the staking on the ETH contract, what about the tax that we would pay then to take that out of that ETH contract? Will that be waived?
We as a team will address that a little further down the road. As we get a little closer with a plan in place for that. In the speaking about the Ethereum contract, there are ways to look at the contract and determine who has staked and who has staked long term and who has just staked. If you are in profit or if you are not in profit, we can pull that data. So at this time, I'm not going to say any more than that. We will have to have another VC with how we're going to progress forward with that.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, just like I say, it's just a consideration. And like you say, if we got the long-term holders, it's been there from the beginning. Yeah, and if you can have a look at that, that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be very fair if somebody did just stake their bag today, right? Because they're not going to have enough time to break even and pull profit, right? That's not very fair. Versus somebody that's been in the staking contract for 60 days and pulled the 100% APR, they're going to be in substantial profit. So we are going to look at all these things, and we will make a determination on how we will move forward with that. Right now, we are pulling together the data, so it's a little too soon to speak on it. But as soon as we have some findings and we have made a decision, we will talk to the community about it.
Yeah. Well, as ever, I'm fucking excited. Let's fucking grow.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Squid Tower. We are next. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? I just wanted to tell you guys doing a good job. I did have a question, but it was just answered. But yeah, man, I love it. I never liked the staking, even when we had it originally on the BSC. I think that's a big step. Also, I think one of your announcements that a big announcement was the bridge reopening. That's pretty neat. And yeah, stand with SquidGrow and let's fucking grow.
Let's grow, Tower, man. I appreciate it, man. The first time I remember you vividly was that video you posted of the trucks, and you've always stood out since then to me.
Yes,
Thank you for
sir.
your
I'm
support.
in Iowa right now, still driving.
Nice. Nice. I appreciate it. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your understanding and being here with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. Who else we got? Help me out, mods. If you see anyone with their hand up, get them unmuted for me.
Okay, I see the 79 Pro. Okay, he either just dropped off or you brought him up. There was 79 Pro was just waving his hand around.
Can you hear me?
There he is.
Hey,
What's
how's
up,
it
man?
going?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, so just wanted to say a couple things. First thing, with the BSC migration, you guys are making that really easy. Seems like the perfect thing to do. So excited about that. And the reason why I named myself the 79 Pro is because I was born in 79, so with that birth year, I got a little bit of wisdom behind my ears, and the pro is for
Not quite an 80s baby.
I'm not
Perfect.
quite an 80s baby, man. So, and the pro goes for, like naturally for my family and in my community, I'm a provider, I'm a protector, and I'm a professional. And that's why I feel so aligned with this community and in you, Shibtoshi, and your team and this project, because you provide a great opportunity here for anybody who wants to participate, and you protect anybody who's involved in your community, and that shows with you always trying to keep our investment safe and doing the best thing for the project. And you and your entire team is always so professional, and I can tell that this was not an easy conversation to have. You probably didn't want to have it, but you knew you had to. And as far as the staking goes, I haven't been around long enough to benefit from all the rewards, but I was able to grab some. And I won't lie, I am disappointed that's going away. But you clearly stated, and you clearly stated as to the reasons why, and that makes perfect sense to me. And so definitely willing to say goodbye to that, and thank you for the support that you gave while I was able to grab some staking. But there's so many utilities and future potential that the project has that like I'm just going to continue to roll with you guys and stay invested and be as excited as I always have been. And I think that your entire community is going to they're just going to trust you like I trust you. And we know that you're going to make the best choice for this project. So I'm just happy to be here, and I'm going to be with you for here on out. And that's all I got to say.
Hey, thank you, my friend.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right.
was not an ideal VC. This is not the stuff that I want to bring to you guys. This is one of the harder aspects of the role here. But we do have to weigh out the pros and cons. Factoring in the long-term goals and our visions and the overall health of our community, our market cap, and everybody's investments. And this is the conclusion that we have come to. So I hope that everybody understands that this is done out of necessity for the project. Obviously, obviously, excuse me. Obviously, I swallowed my gum. Obviously,
Start
those that
crying
are
on us,
here,
you're
I'm getting so choked up, guys. Oh my gosh. Obviously, those that are here for short term, are going to be the most bothered by this. And I can understand that. Everybody jumps into crypto. Y'all are laughing at me. I'm chewing some nicotine gum right now, and sometimes it hits pretty hard. But as I was saying, obviously, those that are here for the short term are going to be relatively upset. I think the staking aspect of the project was pretty attractive to majority of everybody here who doesn't love to earn free tokens and free money. It was great while it lasted, but it's time to kind of move on to the next phase of our growth and sustainability. And let's find out together what the loss of this sell pressure on the charts can do for us. How much can we grow, without this constant sell pressure pulling us back down?
I forgot to say, let's fucking grow.
Let's grow.
Thanks, Pro. And anybody else out there willing to come up and say a couple of words or ask any questions, please fire away. We'll get you unmuted.
Hey, I just wanted to say I'm gonna hop off here. It's 12 o'clock here. I gotta go.
All right, Kalmar. Hey, thank you, my friend.
Guys. Good seeing everybody. Talk soon.
Thanks a lot, man.
See you.
So, guys, I highly encourage you. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, please come on up and ask away. All you have to do is just raise your hand, and we will bring you up.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, please.
Honestly, all I see is positives out of this. One, you got the bridge. That means no man left behind, right? ETH's
Correct.
not going to pump to 100 mil without taking BSC with them. And
Correct.
you figured out the liquidity issues. We're stopping the sells on the chart with staking. I mean, everybody loves staking, right? You're gaining, maybe $100, a couple $1,000, but your price of your bag is going down. Why? Because all you're doing is draining liquidity. So yeah, you can have a 5 trillion tokens if if your bag's only worth $10, it's not going to do much for you. So all I see is positives, and I'm just excited for the future, and that's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. There is a lot of positives to this, guys. A lot of positives, more positives than any inconveniences that I see. We obviously, took a strong look at this before we decided to go down this path and have this conversation with y'all. And I truly believe it's in the best interest of the overall project and growth to go down this avenue right now.
And I know a lot of people here in this chat are SquidGrow OGs. I've got to know a lot of you guys very well through so many of the voice chats that we've done. And one of the cool things about this chat is now you guys are armed with the correct information to help people that may be scared that pop into this chat, in the coming days to weeks as we lead into this on October 1st. So, one of the best ways we can make sure this is bullish is just simply educating others, because the natural reaction for a lot of newer traders is to come in and be disappointed about an announcement or come in and perhaps FUD even. And when you see that, one of the first instincts is just to jump at them and either warn them, but we know better than that. We can teach them and educate them and why this is a really good thing now that kind of we're all on the same page here. And I think that's going to be a really positive step for us moving into this phase, because it is a phase. This next month here, September, we all know how Bitcoin looks. It's a little bearish, but we do have some pretty solid bullish announcements coming still ahead. Obviously, the next crypto gym is coming up this week. Shout out to Brian Evans and Satoshi for setting that up. That's amazing. We still have how many exchanges now? Still 4. That's already 4 exchanges still to come this month. We're trying to get those all done before the BSC migration. So that means that this month, September, there will still be 4 exchanges to look forward to. So you've got that. So still a lot to be excited about. And, Satoshi never shows all his cards either. So there may be some other stuff in there for all you know. But I think, education is key here. So I'm glad you guys were able to stick with us for this call and kind of get the lay of the land as far as what we're doing. But should you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Our mods are on top of it, and we'll address you in either DMs or in the main chat right away.
Yeah, and again, we're addressing this so far in advance because we want to allow ample time for anybody to ask their questions and get a very clear understanding of, what to expect moving forward. We don't want to have anybody, feeling like they're kind of in the dark or unknown or they're not clear. So we've got a full 30 days to ask these questions and get a very clear understanding. Obviously, like I spoke on a little earlier, is in regards to the withdrawal tax on the staking contracts. As soon as we finish pulling the data and we discuss it within the team, we will bring that to you as soon as we can and talk about it openly. But we have a full 30 days here to walk everybody through what to expect in the process. So last thing I wanted to do was drop it on you with no notice. We try to, give everybody as much heads up as we possibly can and maintain full transparency. And that's the purpose of this call today.
You've done everything right, mate. That's all I can say.
Thank you, buddy.
I think we see one more hand. Where'd it go? Saw Melodias a minute ago, but I think I lost you. All right. Any last hands that want to come up? It's been an hour and how long has it been, Chip, since we jumped on here? An hour and a half.
Yeah, hour and a half.
We got through pretty quick. Yeah, anybody else wants to come up? Come right up.
Yeah, guys. Questions or thoughts that you might have. Other people might have the same questions and same thoughts. So, go ahead and come up, get it on this recording, and we can probably, answer some questions that a lot of people might have just by listening to this recording.
Yep. Already I've added 2 new things to the medium that weren't there before. The futures thing with the decimals and the fact that the bridge is also a major one. So already because of this chat, we've got some more stuff on text. So anything that we haven't covered, come on up. And if you want to say a couple words about your experience with staking or with migrations or what you think about it, we're happy to hear from you as well.
All right, let's give it another couple minutes, Dane. And if we can drum up some more questions, then we'll go ahead and cut it. I'm not seeing any hands up.
You have some hands. I don't see any yet. I'll give you my honest opinion. And I'll keep it short. So this is a necessary step. From a developmental standpoint, of course, it's a thorn in the side. We have to contact exchanges. SHIB has to even pay some of those exchanges. We have to do cross all the T's, dot all the I's. There's a lot of little small things behind the scenes the team will be working hard on. Sometimes FUD appears. So, of course, it's a bit of a headache. But the positives, once this is done, are so crucial and vital to our success that they simply cannot be skipped. You can't have staking, which is a gimmick forever. You can't have an old contract and expect to go to the billions when it needs to function at a level that it just simply can't do. So these are steps that we've known they were going to have to take at some point. We've decided to take them both simultaneously. We're getting off of our BSC contract on October 1st, basically 15, 16 months in. I'm not sure the exact number of months, but that's kind of the end of an era. It's the end of that OG contract. On to the next big thing. And with that comes the conclusion of our rewards for the early adopters of SquidGrow and staking. But that does not mean the other SquidGrow holders that just came to us now will not be rewarded. SHIB has a stacked lineup of utilities and things that we haven't announced yet. And we'll continue to drop those and reward new holders for finding us as we did with the staking. So that's kind of my thoughts. This has been something that's been a long time coming. It must be done. And once it's done, I think a lot more of the ceiling that's been holding us down will be lifted and we'll be able to grow the way we always talk about.
Well said, Dane. Well said.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, guys, our new contract is so much more superior than what we currently have right now. I mean, it's just so advanced in regards to what we currently are operating on. So obviously, when I deployed the Ethereum contract, obviously we were already talking about the migration. So I went ahead and deployed the new BSC contract as well, sent them both to audit. Both of those audits are on our Surtech. If you click on the SAM contract, you'll notice that there's a BSC version and an Ethereum version. They both bear the same contract ID number. We had them both audited. They're both safe and secure. So I mean, this has been in the making a while. There's been a lot of thought that has gone into this, and although it's relatively simple, you would think, there is a lot of moving parts, and we've decided upon our path forward to make it as easy as possible for our community. And essentially you just have to sit back and wait for me to flip the switch that trading goes live. I mean, input the contract ID if you need to. I think users that are currently on Trust Wallet, the tokens will automatically populate, and those on MetaMask, I think you'll get a notification that you have a token to import. Some of the other wallets I'm unsure about, but if it does not populate, all you have to do is just add the contract ID. Straightforward.
Nice. Huh? All right, sure. Well, I'm not seeing any more hands. Actually, I'm seeing one. We got Angel of Death. Let's see.
Okay.
Nice. What's up, Angel of Death? How you doing? Angel, just unmute when you're ready, man. We got you.
Good afternoon. With the BSC staking, that concludes on the 1st of October. So do we just finish up any time between now and then? And are the taxes still staying the same? Sorry, I asked the question's probably already been asked, but I came into the chat a little late.
Okay, let me clarify. So you're asking the BSC staking right now. You're asking upon the conclusion of this month, staking is
basically, does he need to unstake SHIB? Does he need to unstake his BSC tokens to receive them on the new contract?
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't quite follow. No, you do not have to unstake your BSC tokens. We can see which wallet addresses are currently in the staking contracts and your token amounts and your pending rewards. So you do not need to unstake. You can leave them be, leave them there, and we will do our mass airdrop to your wallet based on 1-for-1 value of your token. In regards to the tax on the staking contracts, we touched on that just a little earlier. The team is still pulling data from the staking contracts in regards to that. Obviously, if you just recently staked in the contracts, you probably haven't had the opportunity to even make back your 2% that you paid to get into the contract. So that would not be very fair if we penalize those people versus, somebody that has been in the staking contracts for some time. They were whitelisted on the entry of this BSC contract and they reaped the APRs and also the 100% APR. They're going to be in profit versus somebody that's just now coming in. So we're going to pull the data, we're going to look at the numbers, and we'll make a final decision. And obviously, as soon as we do, we'll bring it to the community and we'll talk about it.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thanks for your question, man. Oh, we got Melodize. There we go. Or Melodious. Sorry if I butchered that. Mr. Original. Just got you now.
Hey, what's up, Shib? How's it going, Dane?
How's it going?
Great. So I hold on Ledger, as well as Trust Wallet. So when the whole thing gets updated, should I send what I have in Ledger to my Trust Wallet?
I mean, we can see your ledger address on chain. So I mean, it's not like it's unplugged. It's just not connected, right? So you are still a holder on our chain, and if we send you a token, it goes to your ledger address.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much. That's the only question.
Correct.
Great question. I'm actually going to add that into the medium for people. Thank you.
Let's see.
All right.
Let's see if we've got any other questions.
Yeah, I don't see any. I'll give one final recap for those that are just tuning in. So the staking, the ending of staking, that's one thing. It's going to give us the supply we need to make sure that we can do the things you guys want to see. It's going to reduce sell pressure. It's also going to keep the NFTs balanced. It's not fair to have one side getting benefits while the other doesn't. It's also not fair to offer NFT staking basically to people that can afford it and not to those who can't. So it keeps everything balanced as far as the NFTs as well. Now we're also moving into the BSC upgrade, which is very massive for us. This is going to do 7 things for us. It's going to allow us to pair liquidity more efficiently. It's going to allow us to have the SAM integration on also the BSC side like the ETH does. It'll allow us to go 0% tax when we choose to do so. It will allow the transfer tax to be adjusted independently and also down to 0 should we choose to do so. It will make both contract addresses from BSC and ETH the same. It will also reduce our decimals from 19 to 9, which then allows us to get listed on futures markets. One of the requirements of those markets is to have a low decimal count. 9 is pretty much the highest they go. And then, of course, the bridge. Now that we have the token where we want it, we're on the right contract, we can re-implement a new bridge. Not only can we re-implement a new bridge, but we can also get listed on a proper tier 1. And with that tier 1, list both supplies, which effectively serves as an alternate bridge. So there you have it, 7 reasons that we're doing the BSC migration and the benefits to getting rid of the staking, which are sort of holding us back now. So that's kind of what this has been about. And this month leading up to that, until October 1st, so we'll give you a time to wrap your heads around that. And it'll also give the team a time to make sure everything's prepared so that it's as smooth as possible. When this happens, you have to do absolutely nothing. It's just a matter of waiting and watching. And once it's done, the ceiling is lifted and we can start running with even bigger marketing moves. So I'm very excited. I hope you guys kind of have a grasp and understanding of what's going on now. And don't forget, we have 4 exchanges coming this month, plus a TV show premiere this week. And additionally, let's just end on a high note here. We just announced fucking GotBit today, right? We've got off of CLF. We will dive into this dynamics of why GotBit is an absolute mammoth move for us on probably Monday or Tuesday next week with the actual lead GotBit team. $1.3 billion hedge fund handling our market making now. Proper attention to detail. They will give us and allow us to grow more healthily and allow us to maintain more floors and hopefully reduce that arbitrage we all hate. So very awesome move that was announced today and perhaps overshadowed by this, but definitely should not be. And then, of course, we did announce CoinW last night, our second exchange that was announced. We got Bit4X and CoinW so far, and 4 more to come this month. So very exciting, crazy, wild September for SquidGrow. But as bullish as it is, I'm looking forward to putting it behind us so that we can move forward on that new contract and reduce the ceiling that staking has given us.
Well done. Good recap.
Yeah, to be honest, guys, this shit has me fired up. This has been in the back of my mind for a long time. I know Shibs and the rest of the team as well. It's going to be so good to get it done and over with, and that cloud will be gone. All right, so any closing thoughts, Shib? I think that's a good time to end the recording, maybe the VC as well.
No, I'm good on my end. Guys, as always, we're always accessible and reachable. If you have any questions, drop it in main chat, reach out in DMs, or speak up the next time that we open a VC. We are here to answer questions. We are given ample notice about this, so everybody's questions, concerns, and the process in itself can be addressed, and everybody have a thorough understanding of how this is proceeding forward. And so I hope that if you might have had questions but did not want to speak up because of the recording, that you will ask those questions in main chat or next time we're on VC.
Yeah, and any final thoughts from the team? Squid Tower, I see you in there.
Yeah, just real quick. Now you guys said the contracts are going to be the same. Does that mean the supply is going to be different?
No, so the everything about our SquidGrow currently goes unchanged. The only thing that is different is the contract itself. What we are referring to is the contract IDs are identical. I deployed the contracts within the same nonce on both chains, which gives us a identical contract ID. Versus right now, our BSC contract ends in 765 and Ethereum ends in 557A. Moving forward after the migration, both our contracts are identical, ending in 557A.
All right, thank you.
Yep,
Let's fucking grow.
that's right. Let's fucking grow.
Speaking on that, I've got about 10 or so mics left. If you've been noticing the chat, I've been going through one by one, unmuting all of you. So as we conclude this call, we're going to do a traditional 1, 2, 3, you know what, but we don't have Papa Stonks here. So I don't know, Shib, you want to lead it or do you want me to?
Go ahead, my friend. Lead
All
the
right.
charge.
So go ahead and unmute your mics right now, everyone. This one's recorded, so let's make it a good. You know what's coming. Let's do it on the count of 3. Big, let's fucking grow. 1, 2, 3.
Let's fucking grow.
Fucking grow,
Fucking
baby.
grow. Let's fucking grow. Fucking grow. See you down the square.
I love SquidGrow.
Never gets old.
Never gets old. Moon Lambo.